Hello, and welcome to another episode of This is Rico Trying to Heal My Inner Child. This is episode 8. And let me begin by saying I'm not a doctor or a therapist, and I am not a medical professional in any way. Just a regular person trying to navigate through life and try to navigate what's going on in here. Uh, I just wanted to get back to I wanted to get back on topic, but I was going to try to do a different video. I was going to try to hook up some of my equipment and have a little fun, but it didn't work out. So I decided to just go ahead and make this video instead. But I did get one piece of equipment to work. So I'm gonna try something here real quick. We on? Are we on? Are we on? Hello. 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 Today is the greatest day in my entire life. Thank you all for your support. Hello. Yeah, see, I got my little looper pedal here. So I can do something like this, something like this, something like this. And then we have all kinds of delay, all kinds of effects. I can go into a little stutter here, and then I can do a little phaser in the voice. And we could do some compression. What do we got here? Chorus. Oh, I'm sorry. Simulation. We got bass. And then we got some radio. Hey, I'm on the radio. Welcome to Rico Radio, WRCO AM, where we bring you the hits and all the other stuff. And then we got some pitch, and I can go like this, and I can go like this, and sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks, which is kind of weird or whatever. So, yeah, I got this to work. So I was kind of happy about that. Make some fun noise here. Although it seems like I can only do so much with that by itself. I could do more, but I'm not going to do it right now. But anyway, I wanted to get back on topic, and the topic was the early teen years. I was on the topic of moving into junior high, all the new kids, all the new experiences, how I was completely not prepared for any of it, none of it, and it was scary. It was very scary and confusing time for me. And I had to do it all by myself. It seemed like nobody was around to help. That's what it seemed like to me all the time. But I want to get onto something that was actually really, really good for me then. And I would have to say that band and like art class were some of the only times I felt truly seen and acknowledged. I had a specific part that I could play in band. And, you know, I was a part of something. I wasn't just a nameless face in the crowd. I was actually doing something. I was actually contributing something, and I was actually noticed for it. Art class was the same thing. We could do our own projects, and everybody was always, encouraged for the wonderful art that they produced. And everything was different. We weren't all making the same thing like all of my other classes felt like. All the other classes were just fill out these sheets and be and conform. Just be like everyone else. Whereas when you're in band, you were encouraged to, you know, show a little emotion. In art class, you were encouraged to just be yourself and kind of, put out what you have inside. I felt some confidence. I felt like I was actually somebody at that point. And again, I was saying that during that time, I felt very invisible. I felt very silent, unheard. And I just kind of stayed under the radar. I just figured if I stay out of sight, out of mind, if they don't hear me, they won't know I'm there, and then they won't pick on me. But when I was in art class or in band, that's when I felt like comfortable, a sense of camaraderie. And that's always why I always wanted to play in bands. I always felt like when I was in a band and we all got along, and it was like a brotherhood. And in the beginning, it was challenging. I didn't have drums, so I borrowed drums once in a while. And then my dad bought me a beater kit, a little 4-piece from the bargain finder. I think he drove down to Hebron for it, paid $100, and I beat the shit out of those drums. I played so much that I got blisters. I played so much that they had to tell me to stop. Sometimes parents, when they have kids that play instruments, they have to remind them to practice. Mine had to tell me to stop. They were like, "Oh, okay, you've been playing for 3 hours. You need to stop." I would just pop in the Led Zeppelin cassette on my headphones, or Creedence Clearwater was very easy to learn in the beginning, very easy to play along to. So you can kind of get a sense of the backbone, and then you can add stuff after that. But music was everything. Music was everything. All I wanted to do was make music. All I wanted to do was perform. All I wanted to do was play my drums, and that's it. Music was everything. So in that sense, those were some good times. I know I'm making these videos, and it seems like I'm only talking about my negative experiences, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get out and try to get out of my system. But these were some good times. These were some really good times that I had during those years. Was when I was, in the band or playing music. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Yeah, Rico. Yeah, Rico. Yeah, Rico. Yeah, Rico. Yeah, Rico. Rico, Rico. Yeah, Rico. Yeah, Rico. And one, two, one, two, three, four. Yeah, Rico. Yeah, Rico. Yeah, Rico. One, two, three, four. Just thinking about making these videos and talking about today's topic of music and band and feeling confidence. I think it's just something something creative. I'm a creative person. I like to create things. I like to artistic. I like art. I like music. I like you know paintings. Any kind of art, performance art, performative art is fun. I've always just had a love for the arts, and I do realize that it was just always an escape. It was a way for me to get away from everything and just immerse myself into a whole different world. Now, I don't read very much, but I can probably relate. Listening to music is the same as somebody reading a book and putting themselves into that place and inserting themselves by the reading the story into this world. It's the same thing with music. You can listen to music. There's music I can listen to, and it takes me back to when I was 10 years old, and I can think about what I was doing at the time when I like first heard this song. There's lots of songs like that. Lots of music gives me goosebumps. If I let it, there's music that will just make me cry like a baby. So music has always just been a huge part, and it's always been my escape. It's always been my way to get away. But it was my connection to something, to something. I needed a connection to something, and I didn't have it with people. So music was there, and I immersed myself into it. In fact, when I was a kid, when I was younger, we had like this folding record player that looked like a suitcase, and you could stack records on it, like maybe a bunch of 45s. And when it would finish one, the arm would come up and it would drop the next record and then play the next one. So it was like what I consider the early days of, you know, the playlist. Before the playlist, there was the mixtape. Before the mixtape was the stack of records. Or we could get KTEL records, get a compilation, get a whole record full of like the most popular songs of the time. And I loved that. I loved hearing a bunch of different artists. In fact, one time I got in trouble because I sent in the card for the Columbia Record House, and they sent us a whole stack of records, and we had to send them back, and I got in trouble. But I wanted the music, and I wanted the music, and that was it. That was it. And I remember thinking, if I get real good, if I get real good at playing drums, I can become a rock star and I can get away from this place. And I remember saying it to my parents and they would laugh. I remember saying it to other people and they would laugh. And years and years later, my mom was talking about we were talking about that for some reason, and she was is still disappointed because apparently I had promised her a mansion. I told her I'm gonna buy you a mansion when I'm a rock star, and she like literally was disappointed that she still didn't have her mansion. I mean, I'm serious. I am serious. She was disappointed. She told me, "You told me you were gonna buy me a mansion." I was 10. I was a kid. I was a kid. I remember being laughed at though when we were introducing ourselves in one of the classes, and they said, "State your name and say what you want to be when you grow up." And I stood up, said, "My name's Eric, and I want to be a rock star." And I heard people laugh in the back, and that that was discouraging, and it made me feel like this big. And I learned that I still couldn't trust people. I couldn't trust other kids. If I just told somebody something, they would 9 times out of 10 go tell everybody else. So I learned pretty early to just kind of keep to myself, stuff like that. You know, hopes and dreams. Now, no, no, no. I'll keep that to myself. I don't need you making fun of that too. You could just make fun of my appearance, my height. That's cool. But mischief was still fun. Mischief was really fun. I remember getting to a lot of trouble in school. Not a lot of trouble, but just doing dumb stuff like planting marijuana seeds in my English teacher's class in her plant, and it grew. Apparently, she knew it was me, but she couldn't prove it, so she just kind of called me the gardener after that, which is cool. And we used to go to the mall. My younger brother and I, and some of our friends, we'd have our parents drop us off. We'd go around back to where there was a set of stairs, and we'd sit there and smoke a joint and go walk around and loiter in the mall, stoned out of our brains. It was fun. I loved it. I loved those times. I don't know how we didn't get in trouble with like security or just anyone in general because we didn't buy anything, we didn't do anything, we just walked around. Although we weren't bothering anybody, we weren't like causing problems. We just probably looked really red eyed and probably smelled like an ashtray. And then wrestling was fun too because I didn't really watch wrestling before like '84, before like Hulk Hogan WrestleMania shit. I didn't really watch, but I did have some friends, and somebody invited me over for a pay per view, which was new to me. What's a pay per view? Apparently, you had to pay to watch it. So he had a whole bunch of friends come over, and we went to his place, and we watched this wrestling classic, and it was a tournament, and it was just awesome. I felt like a part of something then. You know, having some friends, and we got something in common, and we all like wrestling, and this is really cool. I like this a lot. So, being a part of something really mattered because I wasn't a part of anything else. I never felt a part of a family, and I, really felt out of place at school. So any of the few friends that I did make and hang out with, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that time, and it was fun. It was good times to hang out with some other kids and forget about everything else for a little while. But this is the time when I was still trying to figure out who I was. I didn't know who I was. I knew I was smaller than everybody, so I had to kind of be tough because either you're tough or you get pounded, and I didn't want to get pounded anymore, so I had to kind of toughen up. And never got picked on again after that, which was good. I'm gonna take real quick break, and I'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the episode. Um, yeah, I just want to conclude this video here with this little segment. Just say that even way back then, even early on, I could tell that music was going to be a big part of my life, and I could really tell that it was something that moved my soul. Um, I just wish that other people would have just recognized that and kind of encouraged me, but they didn't. In fact, when I joined band, I asked my parents if I could join band, and they said no. So I did it anyway because I wanted to. It was what I wanted to do, and it really, really compelled me to do it. So yeah, I'm gonna cut this video short here because the boneheads downstairs are getting really loud, and it's only gonna get louder as the night goes on. But yeah, I just want to finish up and just say, if you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you are into any kind of art, never give that up. Never let it go. Because if anything, that's always something that you have. That's always something that you have, and you know that you're true to yourself. I just feel like a lot of people in my life wanted me to be somebody else, and they didn't really, for some reason, care for who I was. And I knew who I was as far as music was concerned. Even though I didn't have anything else figured out, I knew that music was very important to me. So I'm glad I got to do a little performance here. I'm glad I got to get a little bit of my equipment hooked up and can play a little bit. Um, and yeah, I'm just encouraged to kind of make some more noise and make some more music and just keep making these videos because they're helping me out so much. I hope they help somebody else out there too. My only hope is that we connect. Somebody out there might hear this and say that was what it was like for me, and we can relate. I just want everybody to know that we're not alone. You're not alone, and I'm not alone, and we're in this together. And we gotta hold each other up. Otherwise, we're all gonna fall down. So, with that said, I think I'm gonna cut this video off. Cut this video off. I'm gonna end it here, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day. I hope you all have a wonderful night. I hope you all have a wonderful time, whatever you're doing. And I will see you all very, very soon.